Anna Deavere Smith, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me here.
Let's talk about this workshop. I know that empathy is a big part of what people are going to be learning. How can you teach empathy?
Well, you can give people skills. I've been studying that for years in the work that I've been doing, interviewing people. Some of your audience will know about the work I've done where I interview people and then I perform them. And what I'm doing is studying their voice and movements. And so I think empathy, a lot of empathy is about paying attention. We think of it as a soft thing, but I think you really can develop skills that allow you to put yourself in other people's shoes, and that's what we'll be doing here in San Francisco from June 12th to June 19th.
What is it besides listening carefully?
I'm just watching for every movement, and what I'm listening for is every utterance. For almost 25 years, I just used a tape recorder. And then I would show up and do people, quote unquote, and people would say, how did you get the movements? It's because there's something else going on when you're paying really close attention. Even doctors will tell you that part of healing is if a person feels they've really been listened to. And I think it's because that listener really feels for the other person.
So it's body language.
It's body language, yeah.
Look, there were people denied a lot of great opportunities. One guy was 5 times second in the Tour de France. Sucks to be him. But the way I look at it, he didn't make the sacrifices I made. He didn't do the things that I did. He didn't have the work ethic that I had. He didn't have the team that I had. So that's what you get.
So this workshop is not just for actors, although certainly there will be actors. It's also for community leaders, business leaders.
Business leaders.
What are they going to do with empathy?
Well, I think people who, see, it sounds like such a soft word, doesn't it? But I think that, it could give people in business an opportunity to learn how to manage up and manage down. Who is that boss that you're going to go in and talk to if you would like a raise? Who is that person you're about to fire? Or who is that person you would like to bring along to raise to another level? So it's really studying human behavior. It's using the things that we know as actors, things that playwrights know from studying human behavior, and trying to share that in the corporate world, sharing it in public space, sharing it with teachers.
I remember a few years ago when President Obama had his first vacancy on the U.S. Supreme Court, and somebody asked him, what are you looking for in a judge? And he said, I'm looking for someone with empathy. And Republicans, conservatives, jumped all over him, and he stopped saying that. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's just too soft of a word. Too soft of a word. You know, I asked Sandra Day O'Connor if there was any grace in the courtroom, for example, and she said something.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is a space for something that is more than just you're bad or you're good. You know, like that's what I think about when I say that. But you know, I was surprised. You know, she said there are things that can happen in the courtroom that some things are sad or frightening. And I like to think that someone like a judge, a justice like Sandra Day O'Connor knows what people are going through. And I think it makes even a judge, even the person who's about to put something down on you, a better judge. It gives them dignity.
So what do you hope people, and this workshop I should say, costs $2,500. So is this, I'm not making a judgment about that, but is this sort of helping people who are well off become more empathetic?
Well, we will have scholarships, that's number one. And, you know, unfortunately, good things cost money and new models cost money. So I'm bringing 5 extraordinary teachers from New York with me, a guy from Alvin Ailey, a woman who's just a brilliant listener, a former heavyweight boxing champion, a Juilliard teacher, one of the first people to bring yoga to America. I'm bringing the best people. And so it's going to be very intense, and a very nice foundation is going to support at least 2 scholarships, and I'm looking for more.
So much of this is about interpersonal communication, right? And nowadays, so much communication, especially for younger people, is texting, Facebook, email, and so on. What do you think that does potentially to one's ability to be empathetic?
Probably, it doesn't help. It certainly doesn't help with basic communication. You know, it doesn't help people complete sentences. Part of what social media does is cause this environment of everybody is a star. Look at me, me, me. One of the things I like so much about the president's inaugural address this year is he said we need to become a we culture. And so on the one hand, social media is allowing everybody to feel the potential of an audience around them. But I don't know if this sort of sending out and coming back inside of your small world or niche is really helping us get the social skills we need to have a better society.
Your new project, I understand, is focusing on education. From what I can tell, it's going to be a departure from some of your other works which you've described, where you're interviewing people in kind of a dramatic documentary form, replaying or acting out what they told you. How is this going to be different? Why did you choose education?
Well, I think, first of all, education chose me. Somebody came to me and said, look, you need to pay attention to this. Some people say that it's the next civil rights movement. And I think it's at a really extraordinary time where on the one hand we're thinking about technology. On the other hand, a whole lot of people know that test scores cannot do it all. And we've got to make classrooms where people feel like they belong. Well, that's right up my alley.
And so this will be something you're working on. When might it be in the theaters?
Maybe a year and a half from now.
Yeah. All right. Anna Deavere Smith, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.